It's Dave Joe once again. Pleased to be joined by John, the gentleman Hedges. How are you, John?
Yeah, well, thank you, mate. Yeah, just same old, just keeping in the gym, training hard, and yeah, enjoying my boxing.
Good stuff. So let's start with, you said keeping in the gym. You recently changed camp, changed gym. How was that transition for you? Last time we saw you, it was literally over at the Bear Cage with Leo
Yeah.
and Sav and everything. So what happened and what led you to the team that you're in with now?
Do you know what? It wasn't a major fallout or anything like that. There wasn't no arguments, bickering. It was literally that I've been with the Bear Cage and Hoddesdon team all through the amateurs, won 4 national titles, 7 international. They had many fights with them, and they'd never done me no wrong. And even to this day, I had a great career with them, and I would never say they were bad coach or anything like that. It was literally just it come to that point in my career where I feel like I kind of done my time with them. I've done my 5 years, and it was time just for a move on and a change up, really. And that's what I went for. And I was advised it by a couple of people. And then when I went there and I felt good at doing it, it was the right move for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say as well, the team that you're with now, which we'll get on to, Mark Tibbs is the lead trainer now. You've got Billy Joe Saunders in camp as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I take it as well that the Romford Bulls there as well.
Yeah, we've got Johnny Fisher in the building. Yeah, making his debut next week.
Yeah, so you've got John Fisher there. And also, from what we're understanding on the boxing scene at the moment, after Daniel Dubois' announcement, he'll be training there as well, right? So
Yeah, so Daniel's there with us as well. Yeah.
yeah, so it sounds like a dream come true possibly, because you've got the best of both worlds, haven't you? Heavyweights,
Yeah,
weights.
exactly. Our stables. I think Mark's saying we're full now. We're not really taking anyone else, but it's at a massive level, our stable, and it's great to be around quality fighters day in, day out. And that's one thing what I do 100% prefer being with Mark Tibbs is that I get in the gym, I'm next to a world champion, I'm next to an undefeated fighter, I'm next to great company, and iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. And if you're mixing with them, you're training alongside them, you're sparring them, you just all come on together. So it is really good. It's a good environment down there.
So when you're down there now and you look to the left of you, you got Billy Joe Saunders. You look to the
Yeah.
right of you, you got someone who's going to be joining the team, as in Daniel Dubois. And then you've got Johnny Fisher, who's making his pro debut, sort of literally next week as we
Yeah.
speak. What kind of things are you learning off each person?
Do you know what? Like it's mad. Like even Johnny Fisher, I've been sparring Johnny. There's a lot of weight difference, obviously, but he's not a liberty taking boy. So although he's got a lot of weight on me, we're both learning similar things. His opponent's a southpaw, I'm a southpaw, so I've been able to help him, and he's obviously helping me get the rounds in. And it's a good environment for learning as such. Like Billy Joe, on the first couple of weeks when I was down there, we used to shadow box together, and they wouldn't stay quiet. He'd tell you what you're doing wrong. He would adjust you. It's not just your coach training you; the boys are helping you, and I think that's what you need because they're in there doing it, so that they know themselves what works for them, and then they can just give you that each give you a little few tips, and you pick up things, and it's good down there. It's very good.
And where you're based as well, down south, um, I mean, it's fair to say you could have gone to quite a number of sort of trainers down south. Was Mark Tibbs the number one person that you had your heart on, or was it a case of let's try Adam Booth or anything like that? Or
Do you know what? I left it kind of to my management as such. Like I spoke to my manager, Sam Jones and Adam Morrell, SJAM Boxing, and I believe like they're guiding my career, so they should be the ones who give me a heads up on which they think to go to. And the main thing was Johnny Fisher was down there, and I see his development, and the way Johnny's come on is unbelievable. And also for myself, there's plenty of sparring down there, and also the person who's in my weight category, super middleweight, Billy Joe Saunders, you won't get a better super middleweight in the gym with you. So it was like a no-lose situation. I know Bill as well, so I texted Bill before I moved, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a good move for you, John. You enjoy it down here." And it all fit into place. As soon as I got there, it was kind of like I'd been there before, if you know what I mean, because I knew everyone. It was a good environment, and everyone was very friendly and happy to make me part of the family.
absolutely fantastic. Wish you well on that. When are you next out in action, John?
April the 10th, I'm on the Conor Benn versus Samuel Vargas undercard. Opponent yet to be confirmed, so I can't I don't know my opponent at the moment. But as soon as I do, I will release the news. But yeah, April the 10th, so I've got about 8 weeks.
It's fair to say as well that you took some criticism after your debut. However, yourself, very professional about it and saying, look, the scorecards were fair, and you went on and you've learned. Specifically, are you going to change things up for April the 10th, or is it going to be a case of now to see what I can do? Or
yeah, so as you know yourself, boxing comes with a lot of politics. And the first fight, there was a lot what went on behind scenes. No big problems, but there was a few things that wouldn't have gone perfect. But that's the same with every fighter. So there's no excuses. It was a last late minute change of opponent, and it was a southpaw, and it was everything kind of went the other way what I wanted it to. But I'm glad that happened, if you know what I mean, because that can happen to any boxer at any time in their career. So I've had it right from the start, and it set me in good stead because I know how to deal with that now. And yeah, like I said at the day, I felt like the scorecards were fair. I felt like it was a close fight. I don't think I smashed him, but I do believe I won and still comfortably, and I won by the two. I think they had me I drew a round and won 2 rounds. So in a 4-round fight, I was in control of it. And like I say, I think that was a fair result. But main thing is now I'm going in with Mark Tibbs. His main thing was to make me look more professional. I had a very good amateur career, but it was such a quick turnover. I believe myself. I still went into the professional ranks looking a bit amateur-y in the ring. So I'm hoping now to take my time with Mark, settle my feet down, settle certain things down, and get my professional style in play.
Yeah, because you're quite a rangy fighter as well in terms of your height and so on and so forth. I mean, it's talking about the future for now, but who knows what's going to happen? You might not even say as a super middleweight. You could go into a light heavy. Who knows? You're very young. So
exactly, and people if they see me on the scales, like not at the moment obviously because I've already cut a bit of weight, but when I first start my camp, I'm very heavy, and people are like, you're never going to make that. But I'm naturally a big frame boy, so it's not hard for me to fill out as such by just eating normal food. I'll put on weight quite quick. I've had people say, like, well, I've jumped on the scales, you'll be a cruiserweight next fight, and I'm like, no, because I know how to cut weight effectively. And I know how it is, but time man strength comes. I know what you mean, mate. It's definitely going to have to go up there.
Yeah, it's more than likely it will. Going into your weight class, then, I mean, some fantastic fights that are going to happen. The one that everyone wants to see, though, let's be honest, is Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. Now, it's going to be, hopefully, from what rumours are saying, sometime in May. But it all depends on what happens with Canelo
against
Yildirim. But how does Billy Joe Saunders beat Canelo? What kind of things would he have to do, do you think?
Do you know what? I think Bill's got one of the best boxing brains in the world. Up there, Bill can adapt to many styles. I've seen it. We've watched him do it. And it's the Billy Joe Saunders who you get on a day. You get a very good Billy Joe, no one beats him, and that's not me being biased. It's just he thinks too quick. He's got a great boxing head on him, so I know he can adapt to whoever he's got in front of him. It's a hard fight. It's a massive ask. He's the pound for pound king at the moment, Canelo. But I do believe I said it from the start, to be honest. Before Callum Smith boxed him, before he had the likes of Golovkin and them sort of fights, Canelo, I always thought Billy Joe would be the only style. Not saying the fighter, but the only style what would cause a nightmare for Canelo. He's not massively tall. Canelo likes a tall opponent, and I believe that Billy Joe will make it awkward for him. It'll be a very good fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say as well. Canelo, yes, he got the victory against Arizona Lara. But again, another southpaw caused him slight issues, right? And Billy Joe Saunders is a master at that.
Exactly, and I put Billy Joe a mile, quite a big mile ahead above that above Ariola. But like you say, along with that fight, the southpaw style. I'm not saying Canelo don't like it. He's a great fighter. He knows how to adapt. But I believe Billy Joe knows how to make himself awkward, and he can work on the inside, he can work on the out. But the boxing brain is more than anything. So as much as Canelo is very skillful, I feel like on his day, Billy Joe can outthink him and outwork him.
Yeah, hopefully he gets made, John, quite soon now.
Mate,
yeah, because everyone wants to see that. But if Yildirim does cause that upset, then it's all up in the air again. But I mean, with the Yildirim fight, do you see that going the distance? Do you see that Canelo knocks him out? What do you reckon of that one?
Yeah, Yildirim's very tough, but I do believe I believe Canelo will take him out in about 5-6 rounds. Yildirim loves to fight. If you stand and trade with Canelo, it's going one way to me, and I think he'll stop you. But who knows? It's written in the stars. But yeah, I'd go mid fight knockout for Canelo.
As going on to camp then, has Daniel actually started training with you boys now, or is it a case of he's making his first gym steps next week or the next few weeks, or has he set?
With Daniel, really, I've not had too much to do with it. I've kind of, it's down like Mark's obviously training Billy Joe and that, and he's kind of taken over on that sort of scene. But he hasn't walked in as of yet. But I know there's been, like, I've seen him coming, if you know what I mean. He's not trained as yet, so I know the move is happening, but I'm not sure when he's going to be making his training appearance as such, or if he's training different times, or what's going on that way.
Yeah, because it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because sometimes I take it Joe Joyce there as well. So hopefully they can put the bad blood to bed and crack on with things, you know. So
yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, business is business. And I know Daniel from sparring down at the Peacock. I know he's not one to hold grudges. It is what it is. You say what you got to say to make the fight a build up. And at the end of the day, you both give your best and you have respect for each other. So I'm sure they'll be fine, but there'll definitely be a little bit of tension in the gym.
Yeah, it's professional at the end of the day, isn't it? I'm sure they'll put stuff behind them and just crack on with stuff. How's working with SJAM this year? What's the plan? How many times are you going to be out? What's Sam giving you?
So like this year, the main plan was to be able to take my time. I rushed my debut kind of thing because I wanted to get the ball rolling. So this year, it's about being my age, taking my time, getting every opportunity I can take, though. If there's an opportunity come, I want to take the fight. And just learning. A boy my age at 18 years old, every day I'm picking up 1,000 things, where a 28-year-old is picking up 10 things. Do you know what I mean? So I've got so much learning to do. It's great for me just to be training every day and getting the experience and getting a bit of age under my belt. So yeah, it's good. April the 10th come perfect. Gave me a proper training camp, and yeah, it's lovely at the moment. I've got it really good. I spoke to Sam and he was just like, we take it one step at a time, take your next fight, and then we see what's happening for your next one.
Yeah, because Sam and Adam, they have a kind of plan saying, okay, Joe Joyce, we want to fast track. Solomon Dacres is kind of in the middle. Rob Ball, Johnny Fisher, we want to take our time. You know, there's no rush for him. There's no rush for you. So it's kind of like getting people at the right sort of level, and they've got their eggs lined
up. Exactly. In our management, we've got it quite good because obviously we've got Joe pushing on where we want him for world titles. Solly is a very experienced amateur, boxed WSB, so that's as good as a pro fight. To be fair, they're small gloves, no tops. So to me, you could say Solly's had about 5-6 pro fights already, but because he's got that experience, he can be fast tracked as well. He's not a kid. Me and Johnny's only 21. I'm only 18. We've got the time on our hands. Really, Johnny becomes my age because he is a heavyweight, so you do have to lose a couple of years because the heavyweights go on for a bit longer, don't they? So me and Johnny, it's good that us youngers are in the same gym and we're kind of on the same journey together. He'll have his debut. We'll both be 1-0, please God. Johnny gets through it, and we move on together. And it's really good because same management, same trainer, same promoter. So everything we've got in the same tack. So we both can talk to each other for any advice. And it's good to have next year.
What's Eddie been saying to you about the next fight? Has he been keep saying, look, he wants X amount of performance out of you or anything? Or
the main thing with Eddie, do you know what? He's been spot on. He just don't want to put the pressure on. He knows what it's like being young. His main thing is just go in there and do what you know you can do. I didn't get a show in my class last fight, so I'm hoping that this time I'm going to be double prepared and ready to go in there and take the show again. Yeah, like go in there and get the job done.
How much do you miss that crowd not being there?
Oh mate, you know what? I do miss it. It don't play a massive factor, but it does. You know what I mean? Deep down, it does. Like I'm used to a big crowd. I always brought an army when I boxed. It was one of my main things. Like they knew if wherever it was, put me on a show and I'd sell the place out. So I've done it once now. I've done it a couple of times in the amateurs. So and I've done it on my debut. So it's just now knowing the fact. It was weird though. I must admit the people talk about like it is that and it is this, but it is different when you're in there and there is no noise and it's just you and your opponent. You do feel the difference. You ain't got that. Sometimes you need to find that extra gear, don't you? And you got someone cheering you on, you can just find it, but you've got to get used to it now. Obviously, finding it without them.
Yeah, because sometimes you're absolutely right. I mean, some of the upsets that have happened. I'm not saying it was specifically because of the crowd, but
it's influence though, definitely.
Yeah, it kind of maybe just spurs you on a bit more. Like Rachel Ball beating Shannon Courtney, for example. That fair play to Rachel Ball. She did what she wasn't expected to do, and you know, let's see what happens in the rematch. But sometimes the added sort of crowd
Definitely,
and everything kind of boosts you.
definitely. Like Shannon would have sold a very good ticket. Shannon's a very popular girl, so I can imagine if that was with a crowd, it could have gone different, especially with Shannon's style, the way she comes forward. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, it could have just edged it. But that's boxing at the end of the day. And it's, at the moment, the lockdown's been an underdogs game. There's been a lot of underdogs coming through and getting the win. So time to put that record straight and make sure us our expected wins are getting them.
Yeah, let's see what happens. So, in your opinion, then, super middleweight level, world level, there's only just those two that need to get it on now, right? Canelo and Billy Joe.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think Canelo and Billy Joe, and then when they're done, the likes of you've got your Daniel Jacobs, Callum Smith. I don't know. He's talked about going like heavy. So I think it all depends on how Canelo and Billy Joe goes, and that will set tone for the rest of the rest of the division. Because if Billy Joe does cause the upset, then it's kind of then he's not going to retire. He's going to try and become the next pound for pound great, and that's well possible. It just changes the course of boxing straight away. I do believe if Canelo gets beat, I don't know if he would avenge the loss or not. I don't know whether he'd retire straight away. It's a mad world.
Yeah, I mean, experience counts, doesn't it? He fought Floyd Mayweather when he was relatively young. The resume speaks for itself. Whoever wins that fight, there's no shame in losing to whoever they lost to, if that makes any sense.
Exactly, they've got enough behind them, haven't they? They've done enough already in the sport to say walk away from it and have a great legacy left behind already. But this is definitely the pound. This is definitely the one to watch. This is what everyone's wanted.
Golovkin, do you think he's more or less done now?
Someone like Golovkin, I think that you can't write them off. They're still in the mix because they're just so powerful. And like you put them in, that's a great fight to happen. Like someone like Yildirim versus Golovkin after this fight, if it don't go Yildirim's way, because that will just see if Golovkin can still mix it with top 10, top 15 level.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Another guy who's like rising up the ranks. When I looked at the rankings today, is Zach Parker, Britain's very own Zach Parker, ranked in the top 5 in 2 of the bodies, 19-0. How do you think his chances at world level?
Zach's a great fighter. To be honest with you, I don't know loads about him. I remember looking at him when there was like circulations of Lerone Richards, obviously part of my stable, boxing him. But I won't really be able to comment. I haven't watched a lot of his fights, but I've heard he's a very good fighter. And with a record like that, I can only imagine he's definitely a class opponent.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far he goes. And just very finally, just want to get your opinion on Fury AJ. It looks like it's going to happen. We've been talking to Kevin Rooney from Matchroom. He's hinted that there could be a date very soon. Touch wood, it does happen. How does that fight go down? Who would you pick at this present moment?
To me, I know I'm Simon Matchroom and I'm Eddie Earn's boy and all that, but to me, I've been a Tyson Fury fan since the age of he was my inspiration for boxing. So if anyone said my role model, it was always Tyson Fury. I got a photo with him when I was like 7 years old, so it's been mad for me. And I do believe Tyson, just the pure size and pure awkwardness, causes Anthony Joshua a big problem. But heavyweight boxing, it's the only division when you can say anything can happen because it's one shot and can change all. And we've seen Fury get floored a number of times now. He's been put down a number of times, so it wouldn't be new territory for Tyson to go down. And I don't think it's going to be an easy fight neither side. I think it could be one of them fights where maybe Tyson goes down, but then comes back up to win it. I think it would be one of them fighters. Because let's be truthful, if it's a big fight like that, AJ's not going to leave anything there. He's going to leave it all in the ring.
And with Wilder, is it fair to say that it's going to be a difficult road back for him now? I mean, you've seen the comments, haven't you, with Brayland and Wilder? What did you think of that as a fighter? Do you think it's
he's silly, isn't he? That's all you can say. Wilder's just gone a bit. He's gone too publicly, and I don't know. I don't like the way he's gone about things, to be honest. I know a lot of people have criticised him as well, but I just don't think it's very what's the word? Very, very professional like.
Okay. Well, look, thanks for taking time out today, John. At your busy schedule. You're going to be out and training again tomorrow, aren't you? And then
Straight back to it. Straight back to it tomorrow. I've got a rest day Sunday, so I've got something to look forward to.
Good stuff, mate. Anything you want to plug? Any shout outs you want to give out? Or?
Yeah, massive shout out to my sponsor, 11 Degrees, as always, sorting me out all the time, keeping me in training, making sure I can put everything into my boxing. Foxley Builders, Jack Louis Barbers, Pro Stone, everyone knows who they are. Versa Former, also one of my good mates, Ollie, who owns the company. Thank you very much for keeping me training, boys. Thank you.
Brilliant. Good luck, mate. And we will be in touch again, closer around about April time. Hopefully you get the win how you want it to, and stay in touch, mate.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.